conclusion. One might say, and I'm not wishing to categorise it, that in many ways Madhva's Dvaitavad is theologically quite close to Christianity and to Islam as well, which similarly insist on a rigid distinction between God and the living being, the self as well. They emphasise the otherness of God. Shankara emphasises the not otherness of God, but Madhva does emphasise the otherness of God. You're not God, you never will be, you're something different. Now then, Ramanujacharya, Visishta Advaita, which merged together makes Visishta Advaita, qualified oneness. And my experience has been in teaching Hindu philosophy, because most of the Hindus have got a kind of a somewhat limited grasp of the philosophical distinctions. But after we've been through it, most of them will say we feel most comfortable with Ramanuj. This qualified. What Ramanuj is talking about is Visishtadvaita, and I think he draws. You can find this view in the Gita in chapter 15 verse 7, where Krishna says Mameva Anksha Jivaloke Jiva Bhutaha. The Jiva, the living being, is Mama Anksha, my part. It's a part of me. And therefore he explores that idea that the self, my Atma, my soul, is God in the sense that the part is the whole. So I don't know what example you could give. A drop of the ocean. The drop of the ocean, if you pick it up with a glass of the ocean, is ocean. It's nothing but ocean. It's identical with the sea. Look, I've got some sea in my cup, but obviously it's not the sea, because the sea is big, it's got massive waves and spreads from hundreds and hundreds of miles. So in that sense there is unity. There is a sense of identity between the small drop and the vast ocean, but it's a qualified or partial unity, and that's why Ramanuj's system is called Vishishta Advaita. It's qualified, limited, partial unity, in the sense that the part is non-different from the whole, and yet the two things cannot be said to be entirely the same. So if we apply this to the soul, my soul is of the divine nature. It is a part of the substance of God, but God is so much more than just my own self. So, in a sense, Ramanuj, you might say, marks a compromise between the Advaita of Shankara and the Dvaita of Madhvacharya. And in terms of the religious practice, Ramanuj is even more devotional than Madhvacharya. If you read his commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita, etc., he repeatedly emphasizes the mercy, the grace, the love of God. And moksha comes not of your own wisdom, of your own self-transformation. It's an act of divine grace. God saves. The Ramanuja Sampradaya, they frequently use that verse of the Gita. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ishami. Moksha ishami means the verb to deliver you, and it's Krishna who says that. I will moksha you. I will deliver you. And Ramanuj gives the example. So I'm going on a little bit after. He gives the example of a father who's separated from his son, and he's feeling the pain of that separation, and he wants his son with him. So he thinks, I can't bear to be separate from my devotee, therefore I'll go and get him. He reaches down and goes and gets him. So moksha, therefore, is not through knowledge, it's through the grace of God. He reaches down and saves you. And I think Ramanuja's interpretations have in many ways had a more profound effect on Hindu theism than even Madhvacharya. Although Madhva is more emphatic about the distinction between God and the self, it's Ramanuja's devotional interpretation of Vedanta that has proved to be the more influential. Okay, well, we're slightly out of time now, but I would say that as we go through our subsequent studies of the entire Hindu tradition, we will be consistently reverting to these different positions, because although philosophy might appear to be a rather obscure subject, these different understandings of the nature of God and the nature of the self, I think, are fundamental to the way that the Hindu tradition persists and has continued down the centuries. I suppose I'll just finish with this last point. I do think it is absolutely remarkable, and it's one of the most wonderful features of the Hindu tradition, that it can exist as a single religious tradition, which includes people who hold religious views that are so utterly different from one another, and yet they're still all Hindus and they don't want to kill each other. Not very much. They argue a bit sometimes, but they're basically in the same camp, and I think that sets an example that the whole of the religious world should seek to follow. Thank you.